Right now, you probably have a deadbolt on your front door. Or maybe later tonight, you'll flip off the hallway light and do that weird half-running sprint to your bedroom so whatever is hanging out in the dark doesn't grab your ankles. You laugh about it, we all do. But that sudden jolt of adrenaline, that creeping instinct that something is watching you from the shadows, that is not paranoia. That is an ancient evolutionary alarm system firing off in your brain. It is older than writing, it's older than farming, it's older than our own species. For millions of years of human history, we were not the top of the food chain, we were the buffet. The question is, how did we go from being a helpless, hairless ape hiding in the bushes to surviving and completely dominating the deadliest predators to ever walk the earth? To understand how we survived, you have to go back to the very beginning, to a time when we were spectacularly bad at living. Take a look at South Africa, roughly 2.5 million years ago. Imagine a creature like Australopithecus. You are 4 feet tall, you have no claws, you have no fangs, you are covered in soft, easily punctured skin, and you cannot outrun a modern house cat, let alone a prehistoric killing machine. For a long time, scientists liked to imagine our early ancestors as bold hunter-gatherers, bravely conquering the African savanna. Then, in 1924, an anatomist named Raymond Dart examined the fossilized skull of a 3-year-old hominid known today as the town child. For decades, the general assumption was that this unlucky kid simply fell into a pit or got caught in a rock slide. But here's the thing, when modern researchers like Lee Berger re-examined those bones under high-powered microscopes, they found something chilling. The eye sockets and the base of the skull had distinct, sharp, puncture-like fractures. They weren't from tumbling down a hill, they matched the exact talon spread and beak shape of a modern African crowned eagle. Let that sink in. Giant prehistoric birds of prey were literally swooping down from the sky, snatching our toddler ancestors by the face and carrying them off to their nests like field mice. And if you looked down at the ground, you had saber-toothed cats like Meganterion lurking in the tall grass, alongside giant running hyenas designed specifically to crush elephant bones. We weren't apex predators, we were literally bottom-tier snacks. Yeah, I'd stay in the cave too. So how do you survive a world where everything wants to eat you and you didn't evolve biological armor or venom? You evolved the weirdest superpower in the animal kingdom. Around 2 million years ago, a new character enters the timeline, Homo erectus. Now, if you dropped a Homo erectus onto a running track with a lion, a cheetah, or a hyena today, the human would lose a 100-yard dash every single time. Except there was a catch. Over short distances, 4-legged predators are biological rockets. They use their flexible spines like a spring to bound forward at incredible speeds. But all that explosive sprinting generates massive internal heat. And because they are covered in thick fur, they can only cool down by panting. If a cheetah sprints for 40 seconds without catching you, its brain literally starts to cook. It has to stop, lay down in the shade, and gasp for air just to survive. We went a completely different route. We shed our heavy fur coats, we grew millions of eccrine sweat glands all over our bodies, and we stood up fully on 2 legs, which meant the brutal midday sun was only beating down on the tops of our heads and shoulders, rather than our entire backs. This biological combo unlocked a terrifying hunting strategy called persistence hunting. We couldn't outrun a lion in a sprint, but we could track it during the hottest part of the afternoon. We could jog after it, sip water from a carried gourd, and just keep following it, over and over, for hours. Every time the predator tried to lie down and cool off, we would show up again, forcing it to run. Eventually, the animal would collapse from sheer heat exhaustion, totally defenseless. We literally bored the deadliest animals on Earth to death. Think about that. We didn't overpower them, we outsweated them. Of course, sweating only gets you so far when a 500-pound cave bear traps you in a dead-end alley. To actually flip the power dynamic, we needed distance. Here's where it gets wild. Look at a modern chimpanzee. A chimp is immensely strong, easily 3 times stronger than the average human. But if you give a chimp a baseball and ask it to throw a fastball, it can barely toss it 20 miles per hour, and the accuracy is terrible. Why? Because their shoulders are built for swinging from trees, not throwing. Around 1.8 million years ago, our shoulders, wrists, and waists shifted into a completely new evolutionary configuration. We became the only species on the planet capable of storing elastic energy in our torso and rotating our arms like a whip, basically turning our upper bodies into biological catapults. In 1995, archaeologists digging in a peat bog at a site called Schöningen in Germany found something that completely rewrote our understanding of early weaponry. They uncovered 9 wooden throwing spears, dating back over 300,000 years. These weren't just sharpened sticks, they were meticulously carved from spruce tree trunks, weighted heavily at the front end, and balanced with the exact aerodynamic precision of a modern Olympic javelin. Suddenly, you didn't have to get into a fist fight with a saber-toothed cat. You could put a sharpened wooden shaft through its lungs from 30 feet away. And right around that same era, deep inside places like Wonderwork Cave in South Africa, we harnessed the ultimate predator repellent: fire. Try to picture the psychology of a night-hunting leopard. For millions of years, the darkness was its exclusive domain. It owned the night. Then, abruptly, these weak, hairless apes started creating miniature suns on the forest floor. Anything that stepped into the circle of light got blinded by the glare, choked by smoke, and hit in the face with a wall of burning embers and flying wooden javelins. The night didn't belong to the monsters anymore. It belonged to us. Here's what makes this so important. It wasn't just the spears, and it wasn't just the fire. If one human with a spear meets a giant, short-faced bear, an absolute titan of a predator that could look a modern basketball player in the eye while standing on all fours, that single human is still going to die. Every time. The real weapon that conquered the world wasn't held in our hands. It was happening between our ears. We developed complex grammar, social gossip, and abstract language. Why does that matter for fighting predators? Because a lion can roar to tell other lions that this specific patch of grass is its territory, but a lion cannot say, hey, there's a pack of hunting hyenas waiting by the river bend 3 miles north, so let's circle around the rocky ridge, set a trap at sunset, and flank them from both sides. We could. We shared complex tactical information across time and space. We passed down safety manuals through storytelling around the campfire. We turned individual weakness into collective invincibility. A single human in the wilderness is a snack, but a coordinated tribe of 50 humans communicating with precise vocal codes is a biological disaster for anything standing in its way. We became a superorganism. By the time Homo sapiens and Neanderthals were spreading across Eurasia 40,000 years ago, the script had completely flipped. At archaeological sites like Atapuerca in Spain and across the frozen steppes of Siberia, we see fossil evidence of humans actively hunting the apex predators. We weren't just surviving them anymore, we were wearing their skins as coats, stringing their teeth into necklaces, and carving flutes out of their leg bones. Think about the Eurasian cave lion. It was 25% larger than any African lion alive today, or the cave hyena, or the dire wolf. When we arrived in their habitats, they didn't push us out, they vanished. We systematically dismantled the prehistoric food chain from the top down. We dug massive pit traps lined with sharpened stakes. We coordinated landscape-scale drives, funneling herds of mammoths and the predators stalking them off the edges of cliffs. We used fire to reshape entire ecosystems, clearing out dense forests to create open grasslands where our long-range throwing weapons had the absolute maximum advantage. By 10,000 years ago, the world's most terrifying, hyper-lethal monsters were either extinct, relegated to the deepest, most inaccessible wilderness, or, in the wildest plot twist of all time, we fed them leftover scraps by our campfires until they evolved into golden retrievers. Yeah, we literally domesticated our worst nightmares. So here's the full picture. We started as helpless 4-foot-tall toddlers being carried off into the sky by giant eagles. We learned to stand up and outsweat our fastest enemies under the brutal midday sun. We redesigned our shoulders to turn our arms into high-speed javelins. We stole fire to conquer the darkness, and we used abstract language to weave ourselves into unstoppable, coordinated armies. So tonight, when you turn off the hallway light and do that weird little sprint to the safety of your bed, don't feel embarrassed. That hesitation in the dark is just the echo of a 2-million-year-old war that your ancestors fought every single night of their lives. You have that fear built into your DNA because the humans who didn't look over their shoulders didn't live long enough to become your great-grandparents. We aren't just survivors of the prehistoric world. We are the reason the monsters hide in the dark now. If you thought this journey through deep time was fascinating, feel free to stick around, check out another video, or drop a comment below about which prehistoric beast you'd least like to run into in a dark alley. No pressure at all, just really glad you stopped by.